This is From Both Sides, a spontaneous, free-flowing conversation featuring a dynamic team of women, providing insights into both political and civic events affecting the lives of women throughout Pennsylvania. And now, here's your host.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of From Both Sides. I'm Michelle Soletto, your host. We're very excited about our show today. Our guest is the Attorney General of Pennsylvania, the Honorable Kathleen Kane. We have a rare opportunity today to speak directly with the Attorney General about her accomplishments as well as some of the challenges that she's faced as the first elected woman and the first elected Democrat since the office became an elected office in 1980. We have a lot to talk about today. Joining me as my guest co-host is the co-host of Behind the Headlines, the incomparable Maura Donnelly. Maura?
Thank you, Michelle. Very nice to be here, and thank you for having me as your co-host today.
Well, we've got a great show, and I want to take this time to welcome the Attorney General, Kathleen Kane. We're so grateful that you're willing to be on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
Great. Well, we thought, General, that we might want to start out, and it would be interesting to viewers to hear a little bit about you personally, some of your perspectives. I think everybody knows, of course, you're an attorney and an elected official. Some people know that you're from Scranton, northeastern Pennsylvania, where I'm also from. And some people know that you're a mother of 2 teenage boys. So we thought we might start out by just asking you, is there something that you might want to share with the viewers that really nobody knows about you?
Well, with all of the press coverage that I get, I would be surprised if there was anything anyone didn't know about me. But yes, I am the mother of 2 sons, 12 and 14 years old. Of course, they're the love of my life. I think some things that people don't know about me would be I am a huge Springsteen fan.
Oh, that's good.
I go to concerts and I love them. I'm a good cook. I hold Sunday dinners at my house. I wish someone else would every now and then, but it usually falls on me. I am a big music fan, so and I like gardening. I'm actually just a pretty regular person, I think, which I think sometimes we don't see our public officials as regular people, but Maura and I were talking before about whether I ever dance in the car or sing to myself, and the answer to that is absolutely, who doesn't?
And the Taylor Swift song "Shake It Off" came to mind when I thought about whether you dance to anything at all these days.
Of course, yeah. I try and keep things in perspective, and I try and, when I'm home, and I try and be a mother when I'm home. I try not to be distracted with work because, work is very important to me, but I'm their mom, and that's irreplaceable, and I think they deserve to have me present when I'm present. So, sure, we sing in the car. My boys are big singers in the car, and we do love the Taylor Swift song, Shake It Off, because sometimes it is very appropriate.
Right.
We love the Springsteen song, No Surrender. I think that's also very appropriate.
Great.
And yeah, so we actually have a good time.
How do your boys handle this intense media scrutiny that you're under? Or
It's
how do you
tough.
protect them? Do you?
We do.
It's got to be hard.
Yes, Chris and I try and protect them as much as we can. We try and keep the newspapers from them. We try and, if we know that something is coming up on the news, if I don't get a chance to talk to them about it beforehand and explain what's coming up so it doesn't surprise them, then we'll try and avoid it for them. But it's impossible. I mean, they're very tech savvy, and teachers address things at school because I'm a public official, and they learn a lot about the process, but the best thing I can do to protect them is to talk about it with them, and I explain things to them, and I tell them this is what's coming up, this is what this means, and their teachers are great, and their friends are great. They have a great support group. We have a great family, but the best thing I try and do is to make sure that they understand what's happening, and they really do. It's tough on them. I mean, they're teenage boys. They're in middle school. I'm their mom. They love me, and anytime they see anything that may hurt me, of course it hurts them too. So, but we're doing okay. They're tougher than you think they are, and they really rise to the occasion. And one night my son woke up in the middle of the night and he said, "I was just thinking about Marbury versus Madison," and it's just incredible, and I just couldn't believe.
Got some future lawyers in your
I think we have a great future lawyer. Yes, absolutely. But we do what we can. But they're doing okay. Thank you for asking.
Good.
How do you balance the family and the career? Because certainly, especially with the last year or so, you obviously are spending a tremendous amount of time on these pressing issues facing Pennsylvania. How do you balance that? Because I think that's a question that a lot of women deal with.
Yeah, it really is. And I always say it this way. You can't be everything on that certain day. So, you know, one day I could be the greatest mother and I give them all the attention and, you know, and then another day I could be do great things for the Commonwealth. Sometimes you can't do them both on the same day. And you just have to know that there's flows and it's like a tide, you know, so it comes in and out. And you do what you can when you can. And I think women have to give themselves a little bit of a break. And it started with making sure that I give myself a break. So I tell the story, for example, that I wasn't cooking for them all of the time, and I started to feel so guilty that they were eating pancakes every night because
I love pancakes
that's all
for dinner.
Chris knows how to make, right?
Yeah.
Pancakes and pasta.
Yeah.
And every night I started thinking, oh my God, and then I realized, okay, well, they're not starving to death. They love pancakes as well. And then I just started buying more syrup. So I got rid of my guilt and just started buying more syrup.
Yeah.
In the end, what's important to me is that my kids are going to be okay, and they are okay. And I do the best job I can for the people of Pennsylvania, and I hope that they feel that way.
Mm-hmm. And they're probably still saying, we want pancakes, we want more pancakes.
More
Yeah,
pancakes.
some days I say, what do you want for dinner? And they say pancakes.
Anyway,
And I
anyway.
say, absolutely not.
I need some green vegetables, right?
Yes, that's right.
Well, you know, one of the things that I love about Pennsylvania is that I think in all of the different areas of the state, there are certain unique characteristics. And of course, I hail from northeastern Pennsylvania too, so I can appreciate you being from Scranton. So I just wanted to ask you to fill in the blank on this sentence. You know you're from Scranton when?
You know you're from Scranton when you find yourself involved in a bloody battle just because it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that sums up the core values of, you know, people from my area. I'm sure it's from other areas too, but from my area, I see that people get involved because they feel a responsibility, or they're not going to sit back and watch someone else battle it on their own, and they do it not because of anything they're going to gain, but because it's the right thing for them to do, and it doesn't matter what happens to them. So when I say involved in a bloody battle, people step in Scranton, and they don't step out, and I think that that's a great analogy. Now some people may say that's not good, you got to stop fighting, but I think it's just it's in our nature to fight for what we think is right.
Is that why you ran?
I really did. You know, people say I'm a lot like my father, and my father is very passionate about things, and he's very tough when it comes to making sure that don't just talk about things, get involved and do something about it. So I really felt like the Attorney General's office could do so much, and it touched people's lives every single day, and such a wide range of people. It touches everyone. It touches parents, it touches addicts, it touches safety of your community, seniors and children. There isn't anybody that the Attorney General's office doesn't touch in Pennsylvania. I wanted to make sure that that was done better, and I really wanted to make sure that there is no politics in anything that comes out of the Office of Attorney General, and I felt like we could do a better job.
Well, what do you think is the biggest accomplishment from the office thus far in your tenure?
You know, the biggest accomplishment, I think, can be told in this way, and it encompasses so much. Change. Change has come into our office. I do things a different way. It's not business as usual. I do things maybe outside of the box. And I think that change is shown in our child predator unit. I mean, the arrests are up 778% from 2012. That means
That's huge.
Huge. Pennsylvania kids are almost 800 times safer. That's because we changed what we felt wasn't working. I'm hoping that I changed the way that they do business even inside the Attorney General's office. I made sure that it wasn't business as usual. Our drug arrests are up 30%, and we have bigger drug arrests. We're now into the communities, and people cheer us when we go down the street on the raid teams. People know where to go now also in the Attorney General's office for help. So when I was going to run, I gathered my family together, my extended family, and I said, just want to let you know I'm going to run for Attorney General. And it was, oh, that's wonderful. And then they started whispering amongst themselves, what does the Attorney General's office even do?
Well, and that was my next question. I think that there's a lot of things that make headlines
Yes.
About what you do, but I think there's a lot of little things that don't necessarily make the papers about what the Attorney General's office does.
Right. It is amazing what our office has been doing in the last couple of years. I'll tell you, I'm just so proud of the work that we do, and I'm thrilled to get the opportunity to tell, because I want people to know what we can do for them. And if they hear this on your television program, they may say to themselves, I have that problem too, and I need to know where to go for help, and I want us to be the resource. But we are the largest consumer protector in the entire Commonwealth. We are the most powerful consumer protector. So when people's heating bills tripled last year, when the harsh winter, and they couldn't afford their bills, they came to us. We conducted hundreds of interviews, and now we've recovered over $1 million for the consumers to help them pay back their bills, and we got right on it. We talk about land leases with owners, with the drilling companies, and make sure that they're being treated fairly. We have a huge education and outreach department, which was very tiny when I got there, but to me, education is the core of making sure that crime does not happen. So we changed the way we do business. We don't sit there and wait for a victim and someone to come across our desk. We get out there into the communities. We go to senior centers. We go to schools. We hold public meetings where we gather everyone, and we teach them how not to become a victim, whether it's seniors, and we reach hundreds of thousands a year. We also develop these programs with the schools and with recovering addicts. We had a program where these kids were recovering addicts, and they looked like they just stepped off of the cover of Abercrombie. You would never guess they were heroin addicts.
Wow.
Well, we bring them into the schools, and we say, look at this beautiful group of kids. They're recovering heroin addicts. And then they go and tell their story, and the kids in the audience can relate to these kids. It's not, me 48 years old going up and preaching, or it's not some old guy telling them. It's their peers. And then those addicts now are a part of our team, and this is the first time they've had some purpose in their lives, and they're staying clean longer because they feel like now they're a part of something bigger. It's just incredible programs. So we have our education and outreach. We have our consumer protection division. We regulate charities, so we monitor the Hershey Trust and make sure that they're doing what they are supposed to be doing, because they're the largest children's charity and they educate underprivileged children.
We have so much to talk about.
Okay, well,
And at this point, I think
we're
we're going to take a break and hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
From Both Sides is a production of the Susquehanna Valley Center for Public Policy and is made possible by the support of the Pennsylvania Center for Women and Politics at Chatham University, a nonpartisan center devoted to fostering women's public leadership through education, empowerment, and action. The first to focus on women's political involvement in Pennsylvania, the center integrates disciplinary knowledge, civic education, and capacity building, while examining the intersection of women and public policy. From Both Sides is also supported as a public service by Saul Ewing LLP, a law firm with a 100-year tradition of serving the needs of business, government, education, healthcare, technology, and manufacturing in our region. And by the University Center for International Studies, the engine for extending the global reach of the University of Pittsburgh and its students.
Hello, and welcome back to From Both Sides. We're here today with the Attorney General of Pennsylvania, the Honorable Kathleen Kane. Kathleen, we talked a lot in the first segment about you and about some of your accomplishments. I wanted to talk with you a little bit about the challenges that you've experienced since you've become the Attorney General of Pennsylvania. To get right to the heart of the matter, with the grand jury recommendation of criminal charges, I've got to tell you that a lot of women have approached me and said, do you think that she is a target because she is a woman? And I respond by saying, what do you think? And I must tell you that most of the women that I speak with think it's because you're a woman, that there is this additional target on your back, additional scrutiny, and they don't think it's fair. And I guess my question to you is, what should I say when I'm asked that, if you're a target because you're a woman?
Well, first I think that you should say that I am first and foremost a public servant, and I happen to be a woman. I I feel like my public service and the fact that I don't do business as usual and the fact that I have brought about change and I've challenged the status quo. And, you know, even looking into Sandusky, the Sandusky Review, a lot of people, no, not a lot of people, but some people didn't like that. I challenged the old regime. And I think that this could be payback for that. I think that it is a challenge to be a woman in public service, but whether it's all because of that, I don't know. It could be a portion of it, but I think mostly it has to do with the fact that I brought about some change, and change is difficult for some people to swallow. They don't like it sometimes. Sometimes they just want to keep business as usual. You know, there's two things you can do in public service. You could stay the course, or you can change. I chose to go for change, and sometimes that isn't popular amongst certain groups, but it's worth it. You know, it really is. I would rather do a lot in 4 years in one term than to do nothing. I was elected to do a job, and I see that as every single day I have to get up and say, are my kids okay? And what do the people of Pennsylvania expect of me today? And I think that by the vote totals, by the election was overwhelming. The vote totals were overwhelming. I think that the people of Pennsylvania expect, want, and need that change. And I think that that has put a target on my back as well.
General, President Kennedy once said, I'm always rather nervous about how you talk about women who are active in politics, whether they want to be talked about as a woman or as a politician. And I think you're getting a little bit of, you're getting a taste of a little bit of both of these. Yeah. Politics is a rough and tumble world, and you're getting smacked around a little bit. And do you, I mean, I think Michelle's saying, do you think it's because you're a woman? Do you think it's because you're a politician? Or is it a little bit of both?
I think it's because I don't think I'm a politician. I really don't. I really do see myself as a public servant. I work for 13 million people. I have 13 million bosses, and I think about that all the time. A politician thinks about politics, and a politician makes their decision based upon the politics and how it's going to affect a certain party. I don't. You have to check that at the door. Whether it's because I'm a woman, I don't know. People are going to have to make that decision on their own. What I really do think it is about, I think it's because I challenged the system. I really do. I think if I came in there and did nothing, and I didn't make any changes in the office, and I didn't challenge, say, the Sandusky investigation, and I didn't challenge the things that I did, I think that I'd probably be sitting here in a whole different scenario. But I wouldn't be doing my job then.
Do you think you've communicated that to Pennsylvanians? That part of this is about change and you're making a difference in this agency?
I will tell you, I think I've made some mistakes, there's no doubt. And I think one of those mistakes is that I'm not a politician. I'm a prosecutor. I am used to laying out the facts and the law, and if I need 3 days to do it in a closing argument, heck, I get 3 days to do it. I'm not good at the 15-second soundbite. You know, we're dealing with the law here. It's specific. So it takes me a while, I think, to communicate quickly. I don't think that I've mastered that skill yet. I think I'm probably getting a little bit better at it, but I don't think I've clearly communicated either to the press or the public exactly what is going on here. So those are some of the things I think you have to learn as you go along. I was elected because I wasn't a politician, and I think some of the problem is I'm not a politician. Yeah.
Well, Maura and I have both worked in state government for many years, and I can tell you from my perspective, because I was always a change agent in government, it doesn't make you a popular person.
No. It doesn't.
It does not make you a popular person.
But I think you would agree it's worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt.
Well, I want to address the big-ass elephant in the room, if you don't mind. Frank Fina. It's all over the papers. There's this media coverage that says there's a crazy vendetta going on, that you're vindictive, he's vindictive. It's gotten pretty insane. Everything that's being written. Very recent articles have outlined the entire relationship as the press sees it. This is really your opportunity to explain, is there any truth to that? Is there, you know, what really is going on there?
Well, I will tell you that just like I keep them from my children, I don't read all of the press articles. Even in the campaign, I never read articles about myself, either good or bad, because I didn't want that to influence any decision. And I kept that steady even as the Attorney General. It needs to be, my decisions are based upon the information, the facts, and the law, and that's it. Not how it's going to make me look, not whether I'm popular or whether I get a good article or a bad article. So I try and focus on that. So I'm not sure how it's portrayed, but I can tell you this.
Oh, you have some idea, though.
Well, of course I do.
Yes.
Yes, of course. I will tell you this. I represent 13 million people. If there's one person who doesn't like me, okay, that's okay. I'm pretty secure that I don't feel like I need to have everyone love me or everyone agree with me. That's just an impossible situation. I don't have any ongoing personal feud with anybody, quite honestly. I'm too busy for that. I have kids at home that I worry about and take care of. I don't hold grudges against anybody, quite honestly. I'm that Irish who, all right, if we're angry for 5-10 minutes, all right, but then we move on, you know, and that's how I am. All I think about is making sure that I do my job. I don't have any personal feelings towards someone I barely even know. That's not even rational. It doesn't make sense. So if the accounts out there that we have this war, some ongoing personal feud, it's not from my end. I really just want to do my job. I understand that there's a lot of interest in the press in, you know, in stuff like this, but
Creating drama.
Maybe, perhaps, and you know, everybody has their job to do, so I'm not holding it against any one person, but I just want to do my job. I don't focus or I don't obsess on any one person or any one thing. Did that answer your question?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
A lot also has been written about this, what's called a revolving door in your office. I noticed from my years in state government, when a new leader comes in, they typically really kind of clean house somewhat and remove the top managerial positions and bring their own team in. It didn't look to me like you did that.
Right.
How do you feel about that, and should you have cleaned house more when you came in? How about the people coming and going? What can you tell us about that?
So you're right. You know, there were two options. There was the option of cleaning house and bringing in your own team, or there was the option of going in and looking at everyone's strengths and weaknesses and making sure that they were on the same mission for change that I was on. And if they were, there was no reason for me to fire anyone. I chose the latter. I chose going in and seeing what everyone's strengths and weaknesses were. If people find that to be maybe a mistake, okay, but I'd probably do it all over again because we do have some really good people. Now, some people, correct, they aren't on the same mission that I'm on.
And you learned that as time went on.
Sure. You learn that as time go on. I would rather a thoughtful, deliberate decision-making process on an individual's strength and weakness rather than painting an entire administration. And I think that's paid off for us in certain respects. I think, you know, the great work that we're doing, some of that is from people who have been there for 25 years. Some of it is from people that, you know, came in with my administration. So we do have a balance there that I think is working out. Sometimes it didn't, but there's no way. Sometimes there's no way of finding
Well, our big
that
question
out.
is, why is it so hard to find a press secretary?
I don't know. You know what? That's a great question if someone could answer it. I really like Chuck Ardo now. He's, you know, he was with Governor Rendell.
He seems unflappable.
He's unflappable. Yeah. He's seasoned. He's been through a lot. And that's, I think, probably what we needed all along. He and I have very similar personalities, too. We're very no-nonsense. And Chuck seems to represent, you know, kind of how I would say things. And sometimes, as you know, in press, there's, oh, don't say it that way. And they have you so nervous about what you can and can't say, you end up saying nothing at all. But Chuck seems to have a good hold of that. And he has good relationships with the reporters. I want to have that transparency. I really do think that for change, we have to have transparency because I believe that people need to see what their government is doing or not doing.
Quick question on Governor Rendell and his recent comments. I worked in Governor Rendell's administration, and I have respect for him as a politician. I'm not sure I have a respect for what he said about you, which was that your emotions have gotten the best of you. Whether you've read that or heard that or not, but that was a part of a comment. Now, maybe I don't know the bigger context. How do you respond to that, or how do you feel about that?
Well, Governor Rendell and I, we know each other very well. We talk to each other maybe once every week or every other week. He's a very close advisor of mine, and I respect him very much as well, too. I think I thought he was a great governor. I think what Governor Rendell meant, and what he would be absolutely correct in saying, is I'm very passionate. I really am. I love my job. I love going in and doing those things, and maybe my passion shows a lot. I'm not that, straight up and down and fits in a box kind of person that maybe we expect to see. That's just not me. I don't look like everyone else. I don't dress. I don't talk. It's me, and I think that that's what he probably meant by that. And if that's what he meant, he's absolutely right. But I will tell you, I make decisions based upon recommendations and the information that I get from people in my office, and I make them based upon the fact and the law, and that's it. Never on any emotion. Sometimes maybe women get a bad rap about, well, we make emotional decisions. Well, if that's the case, then I'm a man, because I don't. I don't make emotional decisions. My children have taught me an enormous amount of patience, an enormous amount of restraint, and that's the way it's got to be.
Well, we only have a minute or so left, but really quickly, could you tell us, what does Kathleen Kane 2.0 look like?
I'm hoping a lot of the same of this. I'm hoping that our office just keeps moving forward at the speed of light that we're moving. I'm hoping that we can make our kids 900% safer rather than 800% safer. I'm hoping the drug arrests go up 40%, not the 30% we have this year. I'm hoping I get to do my job every single day the way I've been doing it, because I love it. I love working for Pennsylvanians. I love Pennsylvania, and most of all, I love the people of Pennsylvania. They are the most resilient. They're just as passionate as I am, and I love that. I love the demographics of Pennsylvania, and I really want to keep doing it because I think it's something that I'm good at. I hope that the voters see that as well. I hope they agree with me. I can tell you that so far the support, honest to God, everywhere I go, people come up to me. I was at a viewing last night standing in a line, and it was getting embarrassing because people just kept coming up to me saying, I really want you to keep going. Keep doing your job. You're doing a great job, and that's what's important.
If you had a crystal ball and you went back 4.5 years and you could look at the crystal ball and see what was going to come ahead for you, would you still have run?
You bet I would. I really would. It's, you know what, I just like I said about Scranton, we get into bloody battles because it's the right thing to do. I'm in a bloody battle, but it's still the right thing to do.
Well, thank you very much. On that note, we're going to conclude today's show, and I hope that viewers, I want to thank you for joining us, and I hope that you feel as we do, that as women in Pennsylvania, despite our political differences, there is much more that unites us than divides us. Thank you, and please join us again.